And we are on, I think. Well, we won't know if we're not on, but it says we're on.
We are live, Mr. Adam.
We're live?
Yeah.
Oh boy, this could get messy. Cool. All right, 126. Let's hit it. Welcome everybody to episode 126 of the You Can't Comp This NBA Trading Card Podcast. We are your host, Adam, Amy, and Russell Gibson. We are both in the same country again.
Hooray!
You've been back for a week.
Yeah.
Yeah, you had a chat with a few of our friends last week.
It's probably a good place to start, isn't it? To say thank you to Jono, Matt Tabe, and of course Ross for coming down. It was a heap of fun. We definitely missed you, Ad, but at the same time, those guys held the fort. I think that's the correct term, isn't it?
They did. It was really good. I had a listen. It was a lot of fun, and yeah, thanks guys. That was. I always when I do miss an episode like that, I do want to. I don't know. Hope to chat with them again when I'm up and about. So
yeah, definitely. Look, and a few people have had a listen. To be honest, the download stats on those episodes have been great. So I think they've been really well received. So guys, thank you so much for coming in. We really appreciated it.
Yeah, there's a lot going on in the league at the moment.
Yeah, I don't think we need to talk about the weather today, do we?
Nope. Although the weather was lovely. But
delicious.
But yes, what do you want to start with? Like, we are spoilt for choice this week.
So for me, this is a non-negotiable. We have to talk about the Wemby next day non-auto because this is something that I feel like I've been a Panini apologist or I've been a Panini defender for like a very long time. But this is something that is really challenging me in my devotion to Panini. I think that's the best way to say it. There's like people that fall off the hobby and they're like, the straw that broke the camel's back was this Prism blaster box that I bought and all the cards were off-cut at 45 degrees. Like, that's it. I'm not giving this company another, cent of my money. That's it. I'm actually almost feeling it inside myself that how much more can go on? How much more can go?
I don't know.
When am I going to say enough's enough?
I feel like I'm gonna put my parenting trying to put some parenting skills into this and be. I'm not angry. I'm just disappointed. And Panini should feel really terrible about this. For those that aren't in the know, there's some of I think they're one of our favourite cards from the rookie classes. Certainly one of the first cards when we talk rookie autographs that you go to, and it's the Don Russ next day auto.
I just went into a rant, didn't I? I didn't really lay much background. Look, for people at home that aren't aware, the next day autograph is the first on-card autograph.
Yeah.
And essentially, it's the reason why you rip Don Russ. Like, Don Russ is nice. Yeah. It's a cool product, don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to talk it down. But the thing that you want to open it for is the next day autograph. So I think to follow that on too, just to add a bit of, more relevant information, it's not just Wembanyama that's not signing in it. So it's Scoot Henderson, which is, a really important... Look, for me, Scoot Henderson is important because if you're not going to spend the big bucks on Wembanyama, where is the second best place to put your money? So there's a really strong argument that Scoot is there. Yep. Brandon Miller's also not signed, and then we were talking about this name pronunciation off air, but Jamie Jaquez from the Miami Heat, who's been playing some insane basketball, and
yeah, for sure,
it'd be awesome to have this guy's autograph. He's also a non-autograph, so. I think the political history of this, though, is this is a Fanatics move. So all of these guys have signed with Fanatics, and we're just literally in a holding pattern now until we'll see their autographs in pro uniform products.
Yeah, my question is, though, and this is purely an aesthetic thing. This is, like, I'm not going to go on a giant, like, tirade about this, but the fact that it's written on the card that it says no autograph.
Yeah. Non-auto is the exact wording. Yeah.
Why is it in the print run? If they don't have the player's autograph, don't put the player in the checklist.
Yeah.
Like, could you imagine opening a blank slate that says this is blank?
So look,
Like, just don't put the auto there.
just a card with nothing on it,
It's a blank card. White. It's a blank slate of Wembanyama. Anyway.
Look, I think to answer your question, look, they're not case hits, but there's what, 2 or 3 of them per case. If they didn't have all of these cards, they took them out. What would happen to their print run then?
But they knew
That,
they weren't
look, that's-
negotiating Wembanyama's deal when they put these to print.
I mean, who knows when all of this like goes on and happens? Like, well, clearly they knew the guy wasn't going to sign with them.
Mm-hmm. Like, it was printed with a printing that says no autograph. So they knew that there wasn't going to be an autograph, so why bother with it in the checklist?
Look, I think it's for that. And in terms of collectability, there are still people paying, money for these cards. I was checking one out on eBay. One went for 280 USD.
Mm-hmm.
I personally think that's probably a bit of an overpay, and that 280 could be, better spent on something else.
Sure.
But at the same time, too, people are hungry for this guy. People are wanting to chase this guy. People want to put him into their collections. I'm actually not going to poo-poo, people getting excited and going out and buying some product. The thing that's been really going through my head is, so if you're buying into breaks, now the Miami Heat are not that appealing. Like, to me, Portland Trailblazers aren't that appealing. The Hornets aren't that appealing. The Spurs aren't that appealing. So that's that part of it. And the other part too is, how are people pricing these breaks out? Because I haven't seen anything that says that the prices have been adjusted for the non-autograph cards. Like, so far, just like one price that I saw, I think the Spurs were $300 odd, and then all the rest of the teams are in that sort of like $50 to $70 range. So do you know what I mean? Like, you're not getting a discount because he's not signing the product.
Not at all.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I still don't get the. So I'm going to go back a couple of weeks to when you were talking about people maliciously eBay listing, like putting one of one in their title. What do we put this as?
Yeah.
Because the series it's a next day auto.
Yeah, so actually, it's funny you brought that up, because I saw someone on social media put up that in their listing they wrote non-autograph, and eBay took it down because it was manipulation listing.
They listened to that episode, you see.
Oh, you have got to be joking. So you're trying to tell me that writing non-autograph is manipulation, but writing eBay one-of-one is not?
Double trigger alert for Russell
man.
in the
podcast,
opening segment.
I'm going to rage quit in about 2 minutes. I can feel it, actually. We're going to do 2 hours tonight. Adam, I can't promise anything.
We're going to open with this on the docket. We're in trouble. We're in trouble. Yeah. No, it's, I don't think, like, I don't want to harp on it too much. I just think the idea of this non-auto is pretty farcical, honestly. That's, if you don't have an autograph, it's just a normal card.
So look, I think what you, and I'm saying the royal you here, you really need to prepare yourself that this is going to be going through all the products. So think about it.
So everybody is going to be able to like counterfeit Wembanyama's autograph, which is just
Prism,
a stamp that says no autograph.
iMac, Origins, National Treasures, Flawless, on and on and on. If they do an Eminence in this year, which I think they're about
Have
due.
they realized how easy it is to replicate, like to fraudulent, like to counterfeit this autograph that says no autograph? Almost copy and paste. Can you tell if it's sticker or on card? It's a next day auto, so it's clearly on card that they've printed that. So
That would be funny, right? If that was a sticker.
a sticker that says no autograph.
That would be delicious. Yeah.
I want to get those stickers made now.
So, just the aesthetics of that card. Let's just take a step back for 2 seconds. What do you think about it?
I get flashbacks to all of the paperwork, the formal paperwork I've read that says this page is blank. There's no need to write no autograph there. If someone hasn't signed it, there's no need to write no autograph. It's not a misprint. The guy didn't sign it.
I do find it a little bit annoying sometimes in the world where there's too much like red tape and
Mm-hmm.
too much paperwork, and I think that definitely fits into that sort of mindset for me too. I find that my eyes are drawn to the no autograph part as opposed to the actual aesthetics of the
Yeah.
card. Because actually, I don't mind the design of the card. I think if that did have an autograph there, that would be quite a nice card. But
I'm still waiting. I'm still waiting for the print run where it's got a blank slate. It's got a picture of Victor Wembanyama. It says Victor Wembanyama. This slate is blank.
I mean, all jokes aside, right? That's a non-autograph card.
Correct.
Actually, maybe his blank slate is going
But it's a blank slate. You've got to make sure it's noted that it's blank. Apparently, we're living in a new age.
And he's kaboom. That's going to be wild.
Kaboom,
Right.
indeed. All right.
Final thoughts on this before we move on. I can't really talk about this too much more, to be honest.
Yep. No,
a little bit done.
I'm good. I'm comfortable with the fact that I think that I might have to practice counterfeiting that autograph, because I reckon writing no autograph on stuff is like, come on. Yeah, I feel like Panini aren't exercising common sense. They're a bit annoyed that they don't have their autographs. I feel like
you
it's
reckon-
poorly managed. I just feel like it's poorly managed.
I know John O'Michaels is going to be like nodding his head and agreeing with you at the moment. I wonder if the logistics of it though is that if they left it blank, people would send it in saying it was an error card, and just them answering all those calls and posting it backwards is going to be too much fuss for them. So they're like, look, we'll close that loophole, no autograph, and we're not going to get people sending the cards in.
If
Ask
they
us to
don't
fix it.
print the card in the first place,
Oh, you
knowing
think
that
just-
he's not
you
going to
think
sign
just take
them,
it out altogether.
shouldn't be in the checklist. If he's not signing, what's the point?
Yeah. I think the point is just to pad out the print run.
Make a special rookie set that doesn't have autographs in it.
Yeah. So, actually, this is my final thought on this. The 4 people that I did identify as not signing, that's not a complete list.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
just what
we
I've...
know. We know. There are. This is the forming of the camps effectively.
Yeah.
The camp fanatics, camp Panini, camp. I'm not sure yet.
So that for me is going to be quite interesting to see, who else hasn't signed, because I doubt it's just 4 people that haven't signed.
Yeah.
All right. Prism dropped. Prism dropped early.
Prism
So-
dropped early.
I reached out to a couple of people. I got one answer that was frankly not that good, but it was probably the best answer that I got. The source would like to remain anonymous. There's nothing really that being crazy being said, but he still preferred to be anon. He basically said that Walmart did the wrong thing. They made a mistake. They dropped it early. There will be a financial penalty that goes along with that. But
Yep.
then basically there's a lot out in the wild. So essentially it's dropped early. I was watching a YouTube video in preparation for today's episode at Run Good Life. He actually does some pretty wholesome chat banter with himself, puts some video clips and cuts some scenes in there, and he rips and packs. His words were available for some reason. So I think that sort of just backs up what Anon said to me,
For
they
some
stupidly did it.
reason.
Yeah. So I think the thing really to talk about though with the Prism cards is the curtain in the background. That's the thing that people have been
Yep.
it's been generating, discussion, it's been, generating talk.
Yeah.
And actually, do you know what? We dropped that on the last thing ad with the next day autograph. It generates conversation, all this stuff. If
Yeah, it
you don't
does.
put the card in, there's nothing to talk about.
True.
A lot of people have been talking about this, and we've talked
So
about
is
this
that
before.
no publicity is
All
good? Like bad publicity
All
is good
publicity
publicity?
is good publicity. It doesn't matter
Yeah.
what it is. Even if it's a stinker, an absolute stinker, at least there's something, Panini's going up on the Twitter rankings, right? So
On the
where are
Twitter
you at?
rankings.
Where are you at with the curtain card?
It is what it is.
Do you like the design?
No.
Do you think it's unusual they would put a curtain in the background?
I think it's less unusual that there's a curtain in the background than there's the words no autograph on a next day auto. Like, they keep messing with the guy's cards. It's just, I don't know. Like, I thought of all cards, the Panini, the Prism would be where they put the work.
That's right, because it's literally the most important card in terms of liquidity.
Did
It's the
they
one that
did they
everyone
half
collects.
start the work? and then just couldn't.
I got to be honest with you. I actually don't mind it. It's not a deal breaker for me.
It's not a deal breaker, but it
Definitely
is
not.
aesthetically. It's just
So I'm looking at the 2021 Prism rookie card as I speak.
okay. Hang on.
It's got the black background and then underlaid or overlaid on top of that. It's got the silver and blue lines. I'm looking at a Giddy, so it's color matched to him.
Sure.
I find that a little bit busy, honestly. Like Zion's was quite nice. Just this like
Yeah.
picture of Zion, silver border, bit of black in the background, and I wonder if the curtain is going to more fit into that type of style card where I'll end up in the future. So the curtain thing though, from Luke Rowe, this is his joke. I definitely can't claim it. He called it Panini's curtain call.
Oh, I like it. I like the framing of it. That's very good.
Is there an artistic message here?
No. No, there's not. There's we're on a budget. We went to a local rec centre and they had black curtains.
Oh, you think it's a budget thing?
No, I'm joking. It's just it's a bad shot on media day. I feel like they've gone through all the media they could and they went, oh crap, this is. Can we get another shot of Wemby?
I actually assumed it would cost them more to photo edit that stuff than with a green screen in the background.
True. Well, it depends. Like, what do you think they've got available to them? Do you know what I mean?
I wouldn't have thought budget was a massive deal for them, would it?
No. So why? I feel like it didn't. It was a thought bubble. Is that the right way? Oh, I'm trying to contextualize. I feel like it's a thought bubble that's gone wrong.
Okay.
Like I believe they've just executed it very poorly, very lazily.
Yeah.
I don't think the sort of center stage vibe they're going for is the way it's come off. And I really do. I feel like it was a center stage, like curtains in the background, he's in the middle, it's just him.
Yeah.
Front and center. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But it's like, it's not a deal breaker for me.
No, it's definitely not a deal breaker. I actually think...
I mean, it doesn't say this is 100% guaranteed a rookie card and there's not supposed to be an autograph on it.
They've been known to take artistic risks with their products.
Sure.
But I would also say, too, generally the Prism design is quite conservative in that, it's really important that they get it right. So for me, this is like actually quite a large risk in my head. That's sort of where I'm going with this.
So you reckon they're risky? They're being risky because it's sort of the last hurrah?
Look, again, I don't know anyone that is working for Panini and does the artwork for them, but it seems to me like they get a lot of creative control, these artists, because a lot of the stuff that they do is not conservative. It's pretty, some of it's pretty out there. Like, we're going to talk about this in a minute with Hoops. They've named an insert card Sheesh. Like, that's not, it doesn't come with that risk though. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I get you. You. I'm just putting it up on the screen, but I don't know. I feel like it's a cross between we're really going to have a crack and try and do something new, and someone's tapped this person on the shoulder and gone, Fanatics are taking over shortly, and it's like, just leave it how it is. There you go, just release it. It's fine.
Okay, yeah. Look, I haven't seen one in a straight silver yet. And I actually think it would look pretty good.
I've got the cracked ice one up on the screen at the moment.
Right, okay, so let's talk about this. At Mikey Likes Cards, mostly a baseball guy, but fortunately able to pull this cracked ice from a few blasters. Congratulations, sir. Mm-hmm. Is this an immediate sell or a long-term hold? Adam, where are you at with this?
Cracked ice. Actually, it's Wemby. Maybe. It's a maybe sell, but probably long-term hold. This kid is insane. But I think the highest it's going to be is in the next few months for a while. I feel like it'll do its usual Prism big dive, where it's worth heaps and heaps and heaps. And if he wins Rookie of the Year and then he goes on to be an All-Star next year and he does go on the trajectory he's supposed to, then it will surpass its current value. But, yeah. I don't know. There is a tendency for these cards to be priced out of existence at this point.
Yeah, I think at the moment, like, they're going for quite a bit. Obviously, there's hype there. We just spoke about the non-auto Donruss card for selling a lot more than what you'd expect.
Yep.
I think the other thing to factor in now, too, is that this is dropped before Hobby, which is a little bit unusual in my mind.
Very unusual. Normally, it's like a month after, isn't it?
So do you play that to your advantage and say, actually, now's a good time to sell? Look, I think the other thing, too, is you send this to PSA and then you hold it.
There's the PSA factor.
If you saw any of the stuff that I put up recently, do not take any of my advice about which card you should send to PSA or not. Ask a professional.
So to rephrase my to reframe my answer.
Yeah.
If I pull this from a pack, I'll probably keep it.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
I'll probably hold on to it. I'll probably consider getting it graded. Right? That'll be a consideration. I'll ask other people if they think it should be graded. I don't know. There's a few people I know.
Someone informed.
Yeah. Someone that does it for a living, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yes, but I'm not buying this. So I'm taking would I sell it straight away out? But I'm certainly not going to look to buy it because I think the price is too high.
Yeah.
But I think it could be worth holding because I think this player has shown some very special stuff early on.
Yeah. He's freakishly skilled. He's freakishly big. Seems to have his head screwed on the right way.
Yeah.
And once the Spurs try and stop losing.
When the Spurs decide to start winning, I feel like it's all part of the plan.
Oh,
They're pumping development into him. It's great.
Actually, I want to watch some of his games, but I put the games on and then I just turn off. I find them quite difficult to watch. I've been watching more Wemby highlights than Wemby games, if that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure.
They're like the anti-OKC for me this season.
Oh my God, how good are they to watch though?
Yeah. Ridiculous.
It is it's impressive.
Final thoughts on Prism, Ad?
I want to get myself some Prism.
Are you going to buy some blasters or some retail?
Yeah, I want to get me some retail and crack some. I'm keen. I'm very keen. I hope the prices aren't too outlandish. I haven't really done much research, but Hobby comes out around my birthday, which is next month, so
maybe a birthday present.
Maybe I'll treat myself to a box of retail. I'm not getting or I don't even know what Hobby. In a year with someone like Wembanyama, I can't imagine Hobby being overly cheap and accessible. But yes, I'm definitely keen on the set. Keen to see some yeah.
I'm interested to see what happens with pricing, right? So again, we're stepping backwards into Donruss now, but so the year that there was no next day autographs in the product, the price was basically half the year before. Right? So now, next day autos are back. I'm saying that with a quotation. So do you sort of say, well, this year it's going to be halfway between last year and the year before because there's half the amount of autographs in it? Or do you say, well, actually, it's going to be the same price as last year because the big boy autographs that we're hunting, they're not there? True. My next initial thought was to say the same thing about Prism, but people don't really buy Prism for autographs. In fact, I'd sort of go so far to say is that Prism autographs aren't actually chased. Really, you're looking for the silvers, you're looking for the numbered rookie stuff, and
yeah.
And while we're on this, and you spoke about ripping some retail, so this is a sale of Anthony Edwards, PSA 9, the pink pulsar, which is the retail rip. So if you open a case of Prism blasters, you would get 1 or 2 of the pink pulsars per case. So this is like, what you'd be hoping for.
Okay.
The really interesting thing about this for me is, and I was talking to someone, my brother came around, we were ripping some packs.
Yeah.
We got through what we ripped, and then we said we should have just bought some singles. So if you bought a case of retail, right? So this sold for 1,250.
Yeah.
You could genuinely make the argument that am I better off just buying this PSA 9 Anthony Edwards number to 42 than going through a whole case? Okay, a whole case doesn't cost $12.50, but you know where I'm going with this, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Maybe Prism's going to be like that this year, just all in the hole. Just go single hunting.
That's why I do like the retail product for the fact that it's a little bit accessible, but you're right, it probably won't be.
No, I think retail will be accessible. I'm just saying, like, if you're playing the numbers game.
The number, yeah.
Not
and
that we're talking about
timing
ripping
more
a
than
case.
anything.
Yeah, sure, of course. Anyway, very random thought. All right, NBA Hoops, it has dropped. We are definitely talking about this because it is basically one of the most important products. It's often an introduction to new collectors. It's very price accessible. It has the dual autographs in it, so it has a card in there that's very chaseable. And then when you say chaseable, you can also say very market friendly. It goes for a lot of money. I think my favorite card so far is the manga cards, and I've confessed my love to these manga cards already, in Prism Draft. So I don't think this is like a really big secret, but look, I think it's just a really fun rip. I think the price is going to come down. So if you did want to buy a box for yourself, I would just say hold tight, because once Don Russ is out, everyone's got their hands on that. Everyone's got their hands on Prism. Current price is around 300, 350 AUD for a box of hoops. I think that'll come down. It'll go less than 300 at some point pretty soon, I think.
Yeah.
How about you? What have you seen out of hoops, and has anything caught your eye that you wanted to maybe pick up a couple? And
until we chatted before before today's show, I was kind of like, it's just hoops. It's just hoops.
Yeah, and that's okay to say that.
And that would be, I think you made a very good point about it being a lot of people's first contact with the hobby.
Definitely.
And it was mine. I like, there's been a lot of beautiful subsets over the years, and the inserts
and they put a lot
of
effort into the inserts, they do it well. So if you're buying it, you'll enjoy it, guys. Like, don't stress about that. It's a good rip.
Yeah. It's great. I sort of hadn't paid attention to it, but you know what? It might be worth a look this year. I don't know. Couple of cheeky packs. I don't know about. Depends. You're right. If the price comes down, I might buy myself a box. Yeah. That's pretty much where I'm at.
The road to the finals cards are numbered cards that get put into these, and last year they put this sort of glittery sort of finish on it, and they looked fantastic. I've grabbed a couple of Darren Fox ones. I think I've got an Anthony Davis one in my collection that I somehow got my hands on. Look, I really like those. I think. Again, if you like reading the backs of cards, those cards are also really good just to sit down. The photo's pretty cool. You read the bit on the back. They're numbered cards. There's a couple of thousand of them, but still they're numbered. You know what I mean? I really like it. The Sheesh insert is the other one that caught my eye this year. I think that's kind of.
Can you spell that one for me?
I'm pretty sure they spelt it SHEESH.
Sheesh.
Literally sheesh. Yeah.
Both my reaction to the set, the insert name, and
sheesh.
Yep. Interesting. I haven't seen any of this. I'm frantically Googling, so looking for any blasters, and I'm gonna get sidetracked buying Prism retail.
These aren't going. The Bilal Koulibaly one. Oh, that's numbered to 10. Okay, that's currently the bid's up to 31 US on that.
What's the font?
Monster Fire, maybe.
Oh my goodness! This is like a trick if it's a trick or treat.
Yeah.
Like this like
Look, they're
you know
not
how you're
selling for
supposed to
much.
read from the outside in, like the brain recognizes the first and last letter and fills in the blanks? I'm doing the opposite and I'm just seeing cheese. And take the S and the H off the ends and replace them with a C and an E, and we've got cheese.
Are you hungry, Ad?
I want cheese. Oh my! I've got the LeBron. I've got a link to the LeBron.
So a number to 25 LeBron sold for 100 US. Like, that's interesting to me. I wouldn't have predicted that.
Yep.
A base Wemby sold for 16. Geez, one's been graded already. They must have paid for the super duper express on that. PSA 9 sold for 38. Look, I don't think these are very collectible, to be honest, and I don't really think there's a flip there. Like, I'm very surprised at these prices. Yeah.
Look, I suppose this goes down our sort of questioning of Panini and whether or not they're trying anymore. You reckon they were workshopping this in the in a meeting, and it was, what are we going to call it? And the work experience kid went, sheesh, I don't know, and they're like, that's it, sheesh, you're in.
I think they were in some legal meeting with Fanatics and they were getting fried, and
somebody texted somebody.
The director was like, sheesh.
New set.
That's it.
Put it in hoops. No one will notice.
All right, I think we've flogged that horse to death, Ad. I think we move on. Right, so we've spoken about how is Fanatics going to change the hobby? How is Fanatics going to make the hobby better? What are the things they're going to do to make more collectors come into it? So the Fanatics marketing team, the Fanatics Brains Trust have just launched this thing called the 10. So the general gist of it is there's 10 cards in there. If you own one of these 10 cards, you will get $10,000 in credit. I'm sure there's some type of process you need to like jump through to get it done, but basically it's a Tom Brady autograph. Bowman's Best, Corbin Carroll, 2018 Prism, Luka Doncic Black 1 of 1, Bowman Chrome University, LeBron James, Bronny James Dual Auto, which has been hit. That was hit on Backyard Breaks, of course.
Yep.
UEFA Kylian Mbappe Super Refractor 1 of 1, Topps Steph Curry Super Refractor 1 of 1 from 910, 2023 Topps Chrome Update Anthony Volpe Rookie Debut Patch 1 of 1, Panini iMac Chet Holmgren Logoman 1 of 1, which I think is an interesting choice, but I'm loving that right now. Panini Anthony Richardson Black Finnet Auto 1 of 1, and then the last one is Trevor Zegras Shield Upper Deck the Cup 21-22. So what's your reaction to this ad? Because I'm loving this.
I don't know if I'm not sure. I like it, but is it creating not a false economy? It's actually putting a very finite value on these cards. What was the Luka?
No, so you still get to keep the card.
Oh, what? So you just get congratulations, you've got that card, here's an extra 10 grand?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Why?
Well,
my only question is what's the hook? What's the catch?
Marketing. So look, over the years, people have done bounties.
Sure.
Dave and Adams, I would say they're probably the most famous private company that have run bounties.
Well,
people talk about bounties. People like bounties. There was a breaker. I should know this off the top of my head. So in the last 6 months, it might have been Shine that put the bounty out. He wanted the Luka 1 of 1, and his theory was that it hadn't been ripped.
Sure.
And then breakers were going through a lot more of it after he did the bounty. And that's part of it too. It generates sales.
Okay.
And so I suspect part of this too is this list will evolve over time. I think this list will either change or it will grow, and then you can use that to basically, get more people in.
Yeah, that's true. It's an interesting concept.
So that's my positive spin on it. The negative spin, though, is does it create more of a gambling angle?
That's where my head was going.
Which, if we're being transparent about this conversation, is already there when you're talking about breaking and opening boxes
Sure.
and the luck component and yada yada yada. This just adds an extra
Another layer.
Yeah.
I think it's layered when you think about it.
I'll say this though, it really helps you. This list is a really good guide for what's collectible. There's so many cards out there. There's so many base cards, inserts.
How
autographs.
often does it change? There's my question.
I've got no idea. It literally this hasn't been out for more than a week. 3 days ago, this came live.
I feel like the prize doesn't make sense.
As in, it's too good to be true?
No, but the reason I ask why is because I have a card. It's on a special list that Fanatics have got. I show Fanatics I've got the card. They give me 10 grand in credit. Like, there's no spectacle about it. I feel like there's a missing piece to the benefit of running a promotion like this.
I think it generates conversation.
Sure. So does putting no autograph on a card.
Sports Cards Nonsense beat us to this story, 2 days ago.
Yeah. I'd be curious to know what they said. I haven't listened.
I deliberately didn't listen because I knew we were going to be talking about this. So I can't wait to hear what they talked about. But
yeah,
they've spoken about it. It's on Sports Card Investor on Instagram. I'm sure he'll talk about it on his, video shows and all that type of stuff. In terms of the marketing of it too, we've been told that Fanatics are going to do more advertising. They're going to do more marketing. I'm sure that they could somehow slip in that there's a $10,000 bounty on all these cards. The other thing that's kind of clever too, if you think about it, it's not just basketball. Like they've covered soccer, they've covered F1, they've covered ice hockey.
Okay, is it product that hasn't been opened yet?
So that was my last theory and point too. So for example, the Luca, there's some thought that actually it is out and someone owns it and they don't want to be public about it.
So they're offering 10 grand to get him to take a photo of it.
Is $10,000 enough for you to bring it out of your vault?
Isn't there like a $2 million bounty on the card?
And then Shine can start hassling you via DM every day,
Because this is the Luca rookie, right? The black.
That's his rookie year, correct? Yeah.
Yeah, so it's the one that that made the joke and said this could have even come out of retail that year.
Yeah.
Okay. I get why that card would be on the list. I'm curious to know what cards they're prepared to put and why. I do like the angle that they're trying to encourage people to go through what they've got. But my counter to that is, if these people are not in the media side of the hobby, i.e. following podcasts, listening to Sports Card Investor or Sports Cards Nonsense, how are they going to know?
Yeah, and that is definitely a possibility that you do have the Luca 101, you don't realize what it is. That is definitely a possibility, but I'd probably also say too that's pretty slim.
Yeah.
You can't rule it out to zero. I can't disagree with you.
No, but I'm just like, but what happens if you're marketing to people that don't watch you?
that is a theory also around some of the Steph Curry stuff, that at that time frame there wasn't a lot of value in it.
Mm.
He wasn't even that fantastic coming out of college.
No, he had a lot of
Some people have
question marks over him.
some people have hypothesized that, some of the really rare, expensive Steph rookies have been thrown out,
Mm-hmm.
or they're in boxes somewhere and people just don't realize. When I say boxes, I mean your card boxes that you've put all your singles into, and they're just sitting in your
Sure,
attic.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So look, I think this is a really good time to segue, and we go into the points records, because we were just talking about the Luka 1 of 1. I know that Luka is not your favorite person in the world, but he did score 73 points the other day.
He poured one out for someone I do like quite a bit. It was on the there's a special day that he did it on.
You think it was a tribute to Kobe?
I think they had Kobe on the brain, and by they I mean, so the anniversary. We'll do the introduce all of the stats, I guess. Joel Embiid and Karl Anthony Towns on the anniversary of Kobe's 81-point game dropped. Was it 72 and 62 or 70 and 62?
So Embiid had 70, and
Yep.
Luka had 73.
And then on the anniversary of Kobe's passing, Luka had 73 and Booker had 63.
Yeah, right.
So both very Kobe connected time of the year, I guess.
So I actually haven't heard this theory being thrown around, and I was listening to some pods today, and they were talking about the Wolves coach calling the team immature.
Huh.
So that actually makes me believe what you're saying is right, because the team was basically feeding Towns the ball, not basically wanting to win the game.
Yeah.
Get this points record as a tribute to Kobe.
Yeah. And it was on the anniversary of the 81.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So
As a Kobe guy, where are you at with people doing that for him?
this week is always like the whole arc, the whole 7 days is a very roller coaster thing. I think players putting in Kobe-esque games, like I'm sure it's touching and all, but I don't think you can kind of keep it in the tank until a specific day. So, I mean, I've seen the highlights of Luka's game. That wasn't a Kobe driven performance. That was that was a player just feeling it. Like he couldn't miss. And he wasn't being fed the ball like that, like Cat.
I watched the whole game.
Yeah.
Because I think when someone is scoring the fourth most points, or tied for fourth
Yeah.
of all time, you're witnessing something that's important and special. So the thing that actually went through my head when I was watching the game was he was passing a lot for somebody that was scoring 73 points.
He was.
And I actually think if he pushed it more, he could have got 78 or 80. That's when I think about the game and sort of go through it in my head. I'm like, there's a couple of times he was probably a little bit too unselfish. Maybe he could have taken a couple more shots, So I think where I'm at with this is, where does Luka fit in to the all-timers? Because now that you're on this list, I don't think he's going to get bumped off that ad for
it's an accolade.
A very long time.
It's an accolade, that's for sure.
Let's just say someone makes 74 points, right?
Yeah.
Then he'll be tied for fifth. He's still tied for fifth. You know what I mean? Like, we're talking sort of worst case scenario here. Where are you at with this kid? Because I know that you've been a little bit
Critical
wet on him. I think that's, critical, or just not that high on his sort of hobby potential and his hobby value. Whereas my probably underlying gut feeling is that, this kid is special. And yes, prices have been ridiculous, for a couple of years, but it's also taken a massive dip. I think we really do need to, sit down and start looking at some of these prices. And look, it's not just Luka too. I think there's other generational players at the moment. We've got Nikola Jokic we could be talking about. We've got Embiid.
Mm.
I think Embiid is, one of the most overlooked people in the hobby at the moment, And then, he just went on to score 70. So, look, I think we should read through the list. So, Wilt's number 1, Kobe number 2. Wilt number 3 was 78. Tied for 4th is Luka, Wilt, and David Thompson. So, what I was thinking we should do this week is try and find some David Thompson cards and comp them with Luka.
David Thompson and Luka. I like it.
So
I like it.
Just hear me out. Let's just say you're right about all this stuff with Luka. Is the worst scenario now he comps out with David Thompson?
Is the worst scenario?
Yeah. I don't think David Thompson was anything that spectacular. He was an amazing scorer. Obviously, he had a great game.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. For sure. That's worst case. Are there any David Thompson cards to comp?
I've got no idea. I've done no work on it. I thought we could do that this week on some socials. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to say.
Elgin Baylor at 71. David Robinson had 71. He did that. The team put him up to that, so he got the scoring record. I was around for that. 1994. I remember that. Donovan Mitchell, Damian Lillard was 71. Embiid. Wilt Chamberlain again equal 12th, and Booker at 70. We can go on and on. Jordan,
I was going to say Booker's had a 63 and a 70. And Booker's love in the hobby is very low.
Maybe Booker and David Thompson is the better comp then.
Possible. Possible.
So, of all these scoring records at the moment, do you see any hobby impact? That's what I want to talk to you about with all this.
Hobby impact. I think it's nice that there's something for Luka. If that makes sense. I mean,
tell me more.
Just trying to contextualize it. Luka is a 0-time champion, a 0-time MVP, and I still put those accolades as the more critical drivers of hobby value.
For the ultra high-end players, absolutely. There's no argument with that. So what you're really talking about there is Jordan.
Yeah. I mean, Jordan's got scoring titles. Jordan's done all Kobe, these other things, right?
You're talking about Steph Curry. That's where you're leading Luka into that group. Yeah, definitely.
He wants to be seen there. He needs to do the other thing. And the other thing is win an MVP and win a title.
Yeah.
He needs a title and a finals MVP. I think he's capable of it. That's not going to joke and muck around about it. He's definitely capable of it.
Yeah, this is crazy.
And I think it's really up to the Mavericks to help him get there because, there's the writing's on the wall. He's capable, but until he gets to the summit and gets the job done, I think it's cute that he sets the world on fire with a bunch of less... Oh, what would the word be? Less meaningful accolades. Do you know what I mean? Like there'll be a... Nobody goes and says, oh my God, so-and-so got 30 rebounds. That's the 14th best in history. It's not top 3, who cares? Hell, if it's rebounds, it's not number 1, no one cares. Do you know what I mean? Like, that point scoring thing is crazy. He's the closest to Kobe in a very, 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 very long time.
Yeah, definitely.
It's rare. It's rare air.
It's very meaningful, yeah.
I'm not dismissing it by any means. I think hobby-wise, he's at the point, he's already at the value where he's valued as an MVP winner.
Yeah, definitely. And actually, that's exactly how I feel about this. The person who I think is going to benefit from this is Embiid,
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
because
Embiid's in the spotlight for this.
like literally what you were just saying, then the kid's already hyped out.
Yep.
You know, there's been a lot of cash put into this guy already. He's currently trading at 1,009 for a silver PSA 10. Sorry, I lied to you. 1,200. In the last 2 years, he's down 59%. Population on this is 2,200, nearly 2,300, right? So, there's a bit going on with this card, and, future value, high population, where is this going to be in a couple of years? Look, I think this is actually, a really interesting conversation. Keeping in mind that he could be a generational guy. Embiid, on the other hand, I really struggle with this guy gauging his hobby value. My gut feeling, though, is he's really undervalued, and maybe things like this is going to be really good for his exposure, really good for getting people on board with the idea that Embiid is now the 12th highest point scoring in a game person. Like, I like that. I think that's really good.
True.
The other thing about Embiid that I think is going to be really interesting is that I think all that injury risk is gone with this guy. They're going to manage him. They're going to maintain him. Yada, yada, yada. That's all going to be fine. By the way that he's trending this year, he most likely won't be eligible for the MVP. He can only take 6 more games off. There's a long way to go in the season. If they have a really good record, which I think they're going to do it, I think they'll rest him at the end of the season. I don't think he's going to be the MVP running this year. So, in saying that, I think the team success of the 76ers is going to be fantastic this year. If they come out of the East this year, I'm not going to be shocked. Boston have got wobbly wheels at the moment. Philadelphia is looking really, really good. And Maxey, frankly, looks better than Harden and Simmons combined at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
In Philadelphia. I need to put an asterisk on that because actually Harden's been pretty sick for the Clippers. But yeah, that's where I'm at with this, actually, man. I think the final question before we move on from this is, can someone score 100 points?
I think it's possible. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility. The question is, do people stop at 81 or 99 out of respect to either Wilt or Kobe? That's like, there's all these tribute performances. I'm like, I wonder what would happen in that scenario. It would be interesting. I was looking because we always go back to the we always go back to Luka and the pop count.
Yeah.
I just thought I'd go back, and I've started with Kobe because the last week has been very
Kobe-esque.
Yeah. The Topps Chrome, like 96 base PSA 10 last sold for $4,325.
That's the base.
That is the base, not the refractor.
What's the pop on that?
The pop on that is 836.
Sure.
The BGS 9.5, 745. Last sold for 2,350.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean? Like, we haven't got to the population of Lukas yet.
There's nearly 20,000 base PSA 10s.
That's right. And and those two Kobe's, they're base, and they're not even... There's more Luka Silvers out there than that.
Yeah.
And PSA 9, there's 4,000. Okay, so refractors... There are 2 BGS 10 blacks, 13 BGS 10 refractors, 63... Like, do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
This thing is rare as hen's teeth. Michael Jordan. And I'm not saying that Luka is these players. Do you know what I mean? But the pop count on these cards...
I think it's okay to have this conversation, though, because people have been speculating on this guy that he's going to be the next Larry Bird, that he's going to be the next Kobe/Michael Jordan.
Do you know how many PSA 10 Jordan 1986 flares there are?
So you're not talking about the star rookie card, you're talking about the iconic Fleer.
The flare.
I'm gonna say there's 10,000.
3, 2, 1. In PSA 10, there are 321.
Really? I thought there was oodles of those.
SGC Pristine, there is 1. PSA 10, there's 321. BGS 10, there's 6. BGS 9.5, there's 540. PSA 9, there's 2,900.
I actually almost don't believe you. I just thought there was thousands of these floating around.
I don't know how many of the stickers there are, but yeah, no, I'm looking through Card Ladder now.
Yeah, you know, I believe you.
It's, but that,
I was so wrong. It's actually not funny.
it's crazy to think that the relativity isn't there. Like those base cards of Luca's, the near 50,000 in gem rated Luca base cards. Do you know what I mean? It's farcical to think it's going to be they're going to sell for $5,000 plus like Kobe's did. And Silver Prism, geez, there's less base Kobe rookies than there are Luca Silver Prisms.
Yeah, you know, you're making a great point. I don't have any, counter argument to it.
And the funniest part about that is this kid doesn't even win a championship yet or an MVP. So I think he's capable. And he's under 25 for crying out loud.
It's wild, isn't it, what he's doing?
Like really this kid has only just started.
Yeah. He's very polished for his age.
But he hasn't earned it. That's what I'm saying it, yeah.
If we keep this, hobby sort of wheel turning around, I think we make this sort of the final thought, we move on. But I think, Luca is collectible, right? So there has to be something that's in there that's Luca that's collectible. So do you just say, if you can spin the wheels and you can do it, buy something that's numbered?
Yeah. Find something that's rare. Find something that has defined rarity.
Can I be honest with you? Anything that's numbered for me that would be a Luca rookie and or Luca rookie autograph and or patch autograph.
Sure.
I think you can sleep easy on that.
For sure.
Yeah. The silvers, on the other hand, I agree with you. I think that's going to be a very interesting play for the next couple of years. All right, mate. Let's make this the last thing and we'll close this episode off.
Yes.
I'm going to keep bringing up WNBA cards when the big stuff happens in the news. And this is big. So this is Caitlin Clark. She's currently in college at the moment. She has signed to Fanatics. Her 1/1 Super Refractor sold for $78,000 US. It was grade PSA 10. It's a sticker autograph. The autograph also came out to Gem Mint 10. I think this is very interesting. I think the trickle-down effect is going to be real, and I think the hype for this young lady coming out is just going to be crazy. I'd say from a selfish point of view, though, if Panini is still doing WNBA next year and there's no Caitlin Clark autographs in it, which I think is going to be the case, and we get a non-autographed Caitlin Clark, I think that's going to be very sad for the diehard WNBA fans out there. But yeah, look, I'm really blown away by this. I want to meet the person who made the purchase and talk to them and ask them, why was your highest bid, or
well, in order for it to get that high, someone else is surely bidding.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. No, that's right. There's more than one horse in this race.
Yeah, I think that's really exciting. It's definitely exciting.
And also collecting outside of the box. You can't tell me that this is ultra chased and
Nope.
And there's not a lot of people out there collecting WNBA. Like to me, this is really, really wild.
I don't know. I think it's special. I think it's an indication that the hobby is not. The hobby's growing and in ways that are very good for diversity.
Just to add to what you're saying, then I thought you were going to say the hobby's not dead, and I feel like this is the type of thing that you could, when all these trolls online are saying, the hobby is dead, and you could just literally just copy and paste this underneath there. You'll get laughed out of the forum. I know that, but at the same time,
No, but yeah, I know
I
what you
think
mean.
this is the type of stuff that you can't tell me the hobby's dead and dying. This is just.
This is true. This is
I
very
would
true.
never have. I would never have guessed that in a million years, Ad.
Yep.
So the previous record for a female basketball card was 11,500. So what, 6x that.
We've kind of bumped that a little bit. Yep.
Serena Williams is the only other female athlete to have $100,000 card. And we know how big Serena is. What she means to mainstream society. And young women. So look, I've got no troubles with that with Serena at all.
I think the hobby is changing, and I feel like the days that the hobby was perceived as a male dominated activity are well and truly behind us.
Yeah, I do like that.
Yeah, I think it's exciting. It's good to see. Other aspects of the hobby get the recognition that they deserve, and this is a really positive step. And any of the trolls that say the hobby's dead, it's growing in ways that you may not notice or you may not appreciate, but yeah, troll if you will. We're looking at a very healthy history, healthy future. Sorry.
The other thing that just came to me then too is, I think the product history of Topps Chrome is obviously very strong, and people believe in the product. Because I think if this was a Fanatics product and they hadn't purchased Topps Chrome, I don't think it would have sold for the same amount, right? Like, it doesn't have the same meaning and panache. I think that's the right word.
Yeah.
And the other thing I'd say too is, I think this is a really big confidence booster and also market confidence booster for Fanatics. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't think that if people thought that Fanatics were going to crash this car, there's no way they're dropping 80K on a Caitlin Clark. That, there's no logic there.
For sure. So, one thing I have noticed, and I've got a couple of friends that sort of have that grassroots, love collecting, ripping packs, and I have a friend, he's got 3 daughters.
Yep.
And I know at least 2 of them have been into basketball cards at some point.
Yep.
And to see that players because they all play basketball. They've been playing basketball all weekend. It's Australia Day weekend. So in Melbourne, it's very much a rep tournament kind of thing. But all these young girls playing basketball are aspiring to be like WNBA players, WNBL players. And
I agree. I think it's really good role modeling for young women.
Yeah. And I think to see that there's value in the hobby, and just the same way I had that excitement when I was 12 or 13 opening a box of hoops.
Yeah.
There are young girls that are opening packs with their dad and getting the same level of excitement. And now there's product out there for the players that they can relate to, that they can aspire to be. And I think that's really important. It's good to see.
I think on that note, we tied off, and thanks, Adam, for a lovely evening again. I really appreciate your time. Thanks, everyone, for listening.
Yes.
Thanks, everyone, for your support on social media. It's been very busy the last couple of weeks on social, so thank you.
Yeah, it's been good. Good start to the year. Good to be back. We should do this again. Let's sign off and do it again. What do you reckon?
Sounds great.
All right.